Hi everyone, Blake Hero here, and today I'm coming at you guys with a new combo video. In this video, we're going to explore a lot of the Fiendsmith HERO combos, which I believe is the most competitive variant, especially post-April ban list and post-Alliance Insight with the new Vicious Claws card. So in the last video, I talked a lot about how a Hero Lives plays around Nibiru. So I'm going to show you guys how just one Hero Lives plays around Nibiru in this combo. And there's going to be two variants of it. One if you do get Nibiru'd, and one if you don't, because the combo differs a lot. So we're going to activate a Hero Lives, paying half our life to summon out the Stratos, and Stratos' effect is going to search us Vion, and then we can normal summon the Vion. Vion's effect will dump the Necrom, and then we're not going to use Necrom yet. We're going to hold that for later, and we're going to try to check for Nib with these two bodies. We're going to link those two both into Moon of the Closed Heaven. Then we can link away Moon of the Closed Heaven for Requiem, and then we can use Requiem to summon out Lacrima. Lacrima's effect will dump the Engraver. Then we can go Requiem effect to equip to the Lacrima, and then we can fusion summon here. If we drew a Dusted Gold, this would be a good place to do it, because you could Dusted Gold, grab, draw a card, and then if they were to want to threaten that in any way, then they'd have to Nibiru you early, and you still get to keep Engraver. So of course they're not going to do that. You're going to get a free draw out of it. But if they don't Nibiru us, we're going to get the draw anyway. But next we'll go Engraver's effect, and we'll put back the Moon. We'll summon out Engraver. And now we have two level 6 Fiends. So we're threatening summoning DD Wave King High Caesar. So they're forced to Nibiru us here. For this combo, we're going to say they don't have Nibiru. So instead of making the Caesar now, we're actually going to just link away these two bodies into Sequence. And we're going to use Sequence's effect. And we're going to fuse two Fiend monsters. We're going to keep the Engraver in Graveyard, very important to do that. And we can put back the Requiem and the Necroquip Princess to summon out the Duke of Demise. It's very important that we keep Engraver in Graveyard and we put the Necroquip Princess back in the extra deck, and you'll see why later. Next, what we can do is we can link these two monsters to summon out the Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, because they're two Fiend monsters. And Yama's effect on summon is going to search us an Unchained monster, which of course will be Shavar. Next, what we can do is we can banish Necrom to summon out an Evil Hero monster, which of course will be the Dead End Prison. And Dead End Prison's effect, we can dump Shadow Mist, and Shadow Mist effect will search for us in a Dusted Gold. We're not going to use a Dusted Gold quite yet, because what we're going to do now actually is we're going to use the Duke of Demise, banishing to grab the Engraver back. And we haven't used Engraver's effect yet, so we can go Engraver to search out the Fiendsmith's Tract, which is why in my previous video I said it was so important to have at least one Tract. So we're going to go Tract effect, which will add the Lurie. And then we're going to discard the Lurie to summon out. And then we'll use Lurie's effect to summon itself out. And then we're going to use Sequence's effect to equip to the Lurie. We're actually going to fusion summon again for Necroquip, because her summon is not once per turn. Then we'll use a Dusted Gold's effect to search out the Dark Contact, which will then use Necroquip Princess's effect to draw a card. We're very good at the game, so we'll draw Imperm. Then what we can do is we can use Dark Contact. We can fuse away the Dead End Prison and the Necrom, because it takes two hero monsters. For the Infernal Wing Backfire, effect of Backfire is going to search the Vicious Claws. And then what we can do next is we can use Vicious Claws effect, targeting the Backfire to summon itself out. Then we have two Fiend monsters to summon the Wave King High Caesar. And then we can use Shavar's effect, targeting the Vicious Claws to destroy it. And then we can link summon these two monsters up into Soul Rage, which will use Shabara's effect to set Escape of the Unchained. Now, the difference between this combo and the one card Engraver combo is, yes, this combo does set up less interruption because you don't have the Fiendsmith trap card live in Graveyard currently, just because of the way we had to play out our combo. But we do get a free draw out of it, and it's safer into Nibiru, so I much prefer this combo, and it feels very safe to be able to go for this line. Now I'm going to show you guys what to do if they do have Nibiru and you start with the Hero Lives. So this is the situation, the second situation I was talking about. The only difference for this combo is you actually end on really good interrupts, but you do need to use cards to discard. So we're just going to represent those by having two Molcharmi Fugalovs, and we're going to say we get Nibiru'd on this summon because we're threatening the Caesar. So they Nibiru us, we get a token, and now we're going to continue from there. We can use the Sinister Necrom, banish out to summon out the Dead End Prison. We can use Dead End Prison's effect to dump the Shadow Mist, and then Shadow Mist effect can search for us a Dusted Gold. We can use a Dusted Gold's effect to search out the Dark Contact, and we can use Dark Contact, fusing away the Dead End Prison and the Necrom to summon out the Backlash. And Infernal Wing can search out the Evil Hero Vicious Claws. We can use Vicious Claws effect, targeting the Infernal Wing, and then we can link away these two monsters to summon out the Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, and we can use Yama's effect to search out the Shavara. Next, what we can do is we can link away these 2 monsters for Anguish. And this is going to be why I like Anguish so much in this deck. So you're not going to actually use Anguish's effect yet to link away. We're actually going to use Shavara's effect, targeting the Anguish to destroy, to summon out, which will then trigger the Anguish and the Yama. The Anguish will add back the Engraver, and the Yama will summon back the Anguish. Next, what we can do is we can use the Anguish. We can link away these 2 to summon out the Abaoku, which will be very important for later. And then we can use Engraver's effect, discarding, to search out the Fiendsmith's Tract. We can use Tract's effect to search Lurie, discard Lurie, and Lurie's effect will activate to summon out. Then we can link these 2 monsters out into sequence, which we can use the Shavara's effect now to set the Escape of the Unchained. Next, we can use Sequence's effect, which we can put back the Lurie, the Engraver, and the Adusted Gold, which will actually leave the Lacrima and the Requiem, so you can set up the Fiendsmith in Paradise play. So we'll put back these 3 to summon out the Fiendsmith's Desiree. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to use Abaoku's effect, which is why we need the discards. We'll discard Foolos in this example, which will banish the Abaoku to summon back out the Unchained Soul of Anguish. We can link these 2 monsters up into the Soul of Rage, and then we can use the sequence and we can equip to the Desiree. Next, after that, we can proceed to the end phase, which Abaoku will come back. And here's how we're going to layer our interruptions here. So on our interruptions, what we're going to do is we're going to use Escape of the Unchained to pop the Rage, which will let us use our Vicious Claws, because we have the Inferno Wing in graveyard, which lists Dark Fusion. So we get the pop from the Escape, and we get the pop from the Vicious Claws. Then we can use Abaoku, discarding to banish out Abaoku to summon back the Unchained Soul of Rage. We also still have Lacrima and Requiem, so we can use Lacrima, put back to summon Requiem, to summon Lacrima, to dump the trap, which can get us back into our Engraver. And then we have Soul of Rage to link up, of course, into SP, which gets a banish on summon, and then an additional banish later. And we still have Desiree negate, and that was completely through Nibiru and taking them off of bodies. In this next combo, I wanted to show you guys one of the big reasons why Vicious Claws is like perfect for this deck, just based on its type and attribute. So I'm going to show you guys probably one of the weaker combos in the deck, but it still ends on the full old Unchained board, which is still like 6 interrupts. So we'll have just Adusted Gold for this combo. We'll normal summon out the Adusted Gold, and he's a level 4 Light Fiend, so we can just summon out the Requiem straight up. We can go Requiem's effect to summon out Lacrima, and Lacrima can dump out the Engraver. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to use Requiem's effect for Lacrima. We're going to fuse away for the Necroquip Princess, which is very important to do for this combo in particular. We'll go Engraver's effect, and we'll put back the Requiem, and we'll summon out the Engraver. We can link away these 2 monsters to summon out Sequence, and then we'll use Sequence's effect, which we could put back 2 Fiend monsters of the same attribute, which will be Lacrima and the Adusted, to summon out Arrow Eater. We use Aerial Eater's effect, which will dump a Fiend monster from our deck to the graveyard, which of course will be the Sinister Necron. Then we can use the Necron to summon out the Dead End Prison. Dead End Prison's Ignition effect to send Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist effect will dump out the Adusted. We use Adusted because we haven't used his effect yet to search out Dark Contact. We use Dark Contact to fuse those 2 away to summon out the Inferno Wing. We use Inferno Wing's effect to search out the Vicious Claws. Very important to not overlay yet for the Caesar, because you won't have enough bodies if you do that. Plus, Vicious Claws needs to target a hero monster. So we're going to do Vicious Claws effect targeting the Backfire, but we're still not going to overlay yet. We're going to link away these 2 to summon out Yama, and then we're going to use Yama's effect to search for an Unchained monster. We'll summon out the Shavara. We can use Shavara, targeting specifically the Aerial Eater. Very important to do that, to summon out the Shavara. Still not going to overlay yet into Caesar. We're going to link away these 2 to summon Soul Rage. We'll use the Shavara's effect to set Escape. Then we can use Aerial Eater's effect, because Vicious Claws is level 6 or higher Fiend, plus the Necroquip Princess. Banish both of these to summon back out Aerial Eater. Then you can overlay these 2 up into Caesar finally. So you basically have the same as the old Unchained end board, where you have the pop off of this. The only thing you miss out on, because you had to start by normal summoning a Dust of Gold, is you don't get the benefit of the Vicious Claws pop. This is going to be probably one of the most standard combos you're going to go for, which is going to be either Tract or Sanct. I'll just show you what Sanct does. It's the same combo, because the whole point is that you play without your normal summon. So we're going to go Sanct. Sanct will summon out a token. We'll use the token to summon Requiem. We'll use Requiem's effect to summon Lacrima. Lacrima effect, we can dump Engraver. And for this combo, we actually do not need to make Necroquip. So we'll go Engraver to put back the Requiem. Now the one con of starting with Saint instead of having Track, which is why Track is generally so much better, is you're going to lose your follow-up of your engraver in your graveyard. But we'll use Sequence's effect, putting these two back to summon out Aerial Eater. Use Aerial Eater's effect to dump the Necrom. Use Necrom's effect, summoning out Dead End Prison. Dead End Prison's effect, dump Shadow Mist. We'll go Shadow Mist effect to search out the Stratos because we haven't normal summoned yet. We'll normal Stratos, and Stratos' effect, we'll search Adusted. We'll go Adusted into Dark Contact. We'll activate Dark Contact, putting back the Necrom and the Dead End Prison to summon out the Backfire. We'll use Backfire's effect to search out the Vicious Claws. And now, because we have a hero monster on field, we can actually overlay a lot earlier, protect our plays into Wave King High Caesar. Then we can use Vicious Claws targeting the Stratos. You have to link these two away because they're two Fiend monsters up into Yama. Yama's effect. We'll search out Shavara. We can use Shavara targeting the Yama to destroy, to summon out. Then we can link these two monsters up into Rage. Shavara's effect will set the trap card directly from your deck. So basically the difference between this combo and the last combo is the fact that now you have the Vicious Claws live in the graveyard to have an additional pop. And the main difference is the fact you don't have to use your normal summon. So you can use your normal summon on Stratos to get the extra body. Next, I wanted to show you guys what you can do if you draw two cards that seem like they might conflict a little bit, like the Dead End Prison and the Adusted Gold. One of the neat things about this deck is the fact that even when you draw the cards you don't really want to draw, like Dead End Prison, for example, you can still full combo through it because of the Duke of Demise. So we're just going to show you what that combo looks like. So we're going to normal summon out the Adusted, link into Requiem, and then Requiem's effect. This will summon Lacrima. Lacrima's effect, we'll dump the Engraver. We'll use the Requiem to equip and then fusion summon into the Necro equip Princess. We're doing this because we know we're going to go through the Duke of Demise, and Duke of Demise takes any two Fiend monsters. The attribute doesn't matter, so we can basically just get a free fusion material with it. We can use the effect of Engraver by putting back the Adusted Gold. We can link these two monsters off now into Sequence. We use Sequence's effect. Be sure to put back the Necro equip. I'm going to put back Engraver just to have an extra interrupt with the Lacrima and Requiem set up. So we put away two Fiend monsters to fusion summon the Duke of Demise. Now what we can do is we can use the Duke of Demise to get another normal summon. We can normal summon the Dead End Prison and use Dead End Prison's effect on summon, which we can dump the Sinister Necrom. We can link these two Fiend monsters away to summon Yama, and we can use Yama's effect to search out the Shavara. Next, what we can do is we can banish out the Sinister Necrom to summon out the Adusted Gold from our deck. So the reason we're doing that is we're going to equip Sequence to the Adusted Gold, and then we can actually fusion summon back into Necro equip Princess yet again. Next, what we can do is we can use the Duke of Demise, which we can banish to target the Adusted Gold to add it back. And we haven't actually used Adusted Gold's effect, even though we've been playing with him the whole time. But we can use Adusted Gold's effect, discard to add, which will then trigger the Necro equip Princess, which will draw an extra interaction because we're really good at the game. Then we'll use the Dark Contact, put these two away to summon out the Infernal Wing Backfire. Backfire's effect, we'll search out the Vicious Claws. We'll use Vicious Claws targeting the Backfire to summon out. Then we can take two level 6 Fiends to summon out the DD Wave King High Caesar. Then we can use the Shavara targeting the Vicious Claws to destroy it. Link summon these two away, and then we can use Shavara's effect to set Escape of the Unchained. And then we have our extra interrupt. We can set it because we drew a free card. And now this combo actually ends on everything as well, and you got to draw a bonus card out of it. You had the Wave King, you have the Solar Rage with the Vicious Claws set up because you have the Adusted Engrave. You also have Lacrima and Requiem set up to send the Fiendsmith in Paradise. And yeah, so that's kind of cool that you can do these kind of combos even when you draw two cards that seem like they might not work super well together. But because of the synergy the Duke of Demise has in this deck, you just have a lot of cool options you can do for combos. So post side, one thing that I'm doing is I'm including Dark Supremacy in my deck post side when I know I'm going first, because in the main deck, playing 3 normal traps to your deck is kind of a lot for game 1 when you don't know if you're going first or second, but I am siding it. So I kind of wanted to show one of the really busted combos, what you do, and it has to do with drawing like combinations of cards that do this. Of course, if you draw the Vicious Claws, you don't have to search it. You can search out the trap. If you draw 2 ways to play, you can search out the trap. There's just a lot of ways that you can get to the trap card, but we'll just show this way because this is like one of the best hands in the deck. So what you can do is you can go Engraver's effect, search out the Tract. We can use Tract, discard Lurie, summon Lurie, link away into Requiem. We can go Requiem's effect, summon out Lacrima, Lacrima's effect. We can dump the trap card. We can go Requiem's effect, equip to the Lacrima, and then we can fuse away for the Necro equip Princess. Then what we can do is we can use the Adusted Gold's effect, discard to add Dark Contact, which will trigger the Necro equip Princess, and we'll draw a bonus card. Then what we can do is we can go Engraver's effect. We can put back the Lurie, send out the Engraver. We can link these two away into Sequence. We can use Sequence's effect. We can put back Lacrima and the Requiem, 2 Fiend monsters of the same attribute, to summon out the Aerial Eater. We go Aerial Eater's effect, which will dump Necrom. Go Necrom's effect, summon out the Dead End Prison. Dead End Prison's effect will dump Shadow Mist. We haven't normal summon yet, so we can search out the Stratos. We can normal summon the Stratos, and because we've already gone through a Dusted, for example, we can search out the Vicious Claws. We can use the Dark Contact, putting back the Dead End Prison and the Sinister Necrom, to summon out the Inferno Wing Backfire. In effect, because we've already gotten the Vicious Claws, we can search out the Dark Supremacy. Next, what we can do is we can overlay these 2 monsters into Wave King High Caesar. We can go Vicious Claws starting the Stratos to summon. We can link away these 2 Fiend monsters into Yama. Yama's effect, we'll search out Shavara. Shavara's effect, destroying the Yama, summon it out. Then we can link these 2 monsters up into Soul Rage, which we can use Shavara's effect now to set the trap card. So yeah, some of the 2-card combos in this deck are really cool, especially post side, because now you set up the trap, you have a bonus card with it that now you get an extra layer of protection for your board. You still have everything you had before, like you have the Fiendsmith in Paradise to dump the Desiree for another interruption. You still have the Vicious Claws set up with the Odessa Golden Graveyard, which is why it's important to leave him in the graveyard always. And yeah, so you just get a free interruption. Also, the Dark Supremacy can reset your hero cards for next turn. So yeah, so that's pretty much all the combos I have for today. Let me know if there's any combos in particular you guys want to see. I think this deck's really cool and has some really interesting interactions in it, and I think there's a lot to learn with it, but it's a really cool deck, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content on it. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.